Hey there, good morning. It's JB Portillo here with Let's Talk About It. And boy, are we going to talk about something really fun today. I like surprises. You two are my surprises. Welcome. And Grayson, I started talking with you first over the phone, yep. Grayson Allen, and your founder, Mark, and I'm not even going to try Mark, I'm sorry.
Mark Marsiglio.
Mark, nice okay, good, thanks. Good. Well, welcome. You know, we're going to go into exactly what this app is all about in a few minutes, but I want to know a little bit about you, Mark.
Sure. I've been in Northwest Arkansas for about 10 years, and my day job is web development, but about 4 years ago, realized that a lot of people come here to enjoy mountain biking and trails, and they don't get to have as good of an experience as locals do because they're busy navigating and busy trying to find their way around. So created this app on the side and have been building this as a new way to navigate mountain bike trails around the country based on what we're doing here in Bentonville and Northwest Arkansas.
That's awesome, and we're going to get right into that in a little bit, but I want to know about Grayson.
Sure. So I just graduated from the University of Arkansas last May, and I just had reached out to Mark just because, you know, he's a prominent entrepreneur in the area, and he made an impact at the university, like in the entrepreneur space. So I just reached out to him, and we got lunch one time, and he told me about this app that he was building, and it just seemed like a really great opportunity. So we got to talking, and now it's a team of two, and we're trying to get this off the ground and going. So it's been fun.
So you're the operations manager. What does that mean?
Yeah,
that's
get to do everything
that he tells you to?
Basically, whatever needs to be done, I try to do it. You know, we have titles in like our small business world, but whatever needs to get brought up, I try to do.
There's a lot of hats to wear when starting a small business, and Grace and I juggle all those hats together. But it's nice that if I'm not doing it, there might still be something getting done because Grayson's on the job now too.
It might be something. That's the key.
Well, Grayson, I think you brought a little short video today to kind of kick us off to tell us about the app.
Sure. Yeah, it's just a quick 1-minute video that kind of gives you what we are. So
I think they're going to pull it up right now.
Meet Charles. He loves mountain biking, but he's never been on this trail before. And right now, he's not where he wants to be. Trying to find the good stuff when all the intersections look the same. This leads to wrong turns, potential dangers, and getting lost. It's ruining his stress-free time outside. But it doesn't have to be that way. Introducing TrailPilot, an on-trail audio and navigation app for mountain bikers. Let the local expert guide you as you ride with GPS-triggered audio.
Big drop ahead, hang a right to go around.
Riding with TrailPilot means no more missed turn, no more looking lost and staring at your phone, and no way are you missing the good stuff. It's easy. Download the free TrailPilot app, select a tour that best fits you, throw in an earbud, and go. So while Charles is going the wrong way, you can have a great first ride. Ride smarter, ride safer, ride like a local. Ride with TrailPilot. Download the app today.
Oh, that's fabulous. Did you do that?
That was one of our projects last year. We found that it was difficult to help people who weren't familiar with this app and concept understand what the experience would be like, because it's the first of its kind. And we didn't really do a great job of trying to tell people what they could expect once they downloaded the app and tried it. It's free, it's easy to do, but they had a lot of preconceived notions that it was a map or a research tool to use before you ride, or just something totally off the wall, but none of those things were really what the experience was like. And once people tried it, they really loved it and kept coming back for more, so we wanted to try to do a better job of telling our story to potential riders, potential users.
So it's kind of a GPS system for...
Well, the quick overview is that it's a GPS-triggered audio guided tour. So as you ride real-time on the trail, like in our video, you wear one earbud and you hear from a local expert who has recorded audio that is played at that spot as you ride. So no matter how fast or slow you ride, you hear interesting things about your surroundings, what community you're riding in, how the trails were built. You'll hear things about the terrain that you're going to encounter, like there's a drop. If you want to avoid that drop, stay left. Or here's a jump line. The most fun way to hit it is by carrying some speed after the second jump. Or you might hear just turn-by-turn directions to help you stay on the route that you planned. And as people in Bella Vista are probably familiar, there's a lot of trails going a lot of different directions and a lot of intersections. And we don't want our riders to have to stop at every intersection, take off their gloves, pull out their phone, open up their map and see which way to go. So we try to keep them on track and keep them moving.
So are all the trails that are now in Bella Vista, are they all, I don't understand, so help me understand. Are they already taken care of?
We have, is it 9?
We have 9 in Bella Vista and 5 currently in Bentonville, but it's a growing portfolio for sure.
Yeah, we have 9 tours, and each tour is a favorite route of a local that has been recorded by that local to help. It's not a computer voice, it's somebody who's a resident who is a avid mountain biker and who rides their favorite trail their favorite way. And they know everything about it because they ride it all the time. So if you imagine you're coming in as a first-time rider and wanting to have that kind of experience, you might really enjoy hearing this local. It's akin to hiring a guide, but this is free and it's available anytime on any schedule without having to coordinate in advance. And the benefits, the alternative approach that we're trying to improve upon is that people would spend time watching a YouTube video before they come, and then they would say, oh, where was that feature that I wanted to hit? Or they would come here and they'd look at the maps, but they don't see the neat jump zones, or because everything on the map just looks like a dotted line. So we're trying to create a cohesive local experience for people that are riding the trails for the first time, whether that be a visitor or a new resident or somebody who's been here for a while but has just been apprehensive about getting out on the trails because they're not sure what's out there that's going to get them lost or get them hurt. And so we can help all those people have a better experience the first time they hit the trails.
Do you know, can you name the 9 trails that?
Yeah, we have a back 40 buffet, so that's our take on just the back 40, but you're hitting all the best spots of it as you go. So before I kind of jump into that, one of the biggest things is like when people travel here, they hear about the back 40, they hear about Blowing Springs, they hear about all these things, but how do you actually turn that into a ride that's enjoyable? You know, even just the big part of which way should I ride this trail? You know, trail forks, all mountain bikers can identify with this, is when you're traveling to a spot and you're trying to use trail forks to plan a route, it's an absolute nightmare. Even if you're messaging the Facebook groups or whatever, we want to take all that hassle out of the way, and we just have these curated loops that a local has actually built. So we have our back 40 buffet, which is, you know, the best of the back 40 instead of just riding the loop as is normal, which is also a good ride, but if you're here for one weekend, you want to ride the best stuff.
Right.
Well, we have a couple loops in Blowing Springs, which we call our little hidden gem of the area. It's absolutely great ride. It takes you up into Area 51 as well, if you're familiar with all the rides. We're building some scenic tours. We're building, waterfall looks and things like that.
One of our more popular routes in Bella Vista is the back 40 wet weather route, because a lot of people...
Wet weather?
Yeah,
Okay.
because there's a particular route that has been mapped out by some frequent riders that can be basically ridden even in a heavy downpour. So if people have come out from, out of town and they're going to ride, they're going to ride. This route helps them stay clear of any active creeks or soggy parts of the trail, and it's a kind of a specialty route that isn't very easy to figure out on a map, because it even involves about a quarter-mile segment on a road in order to avoid some of the more challenging sections when it's raining. So that's been a very popular route.
Yeah.
How do you go about deciding? I mean, that sounds like a lot of work, guys.
It's a little bit of work. Definitely takes more. There's a reason maybe that it hasn't been done before, is that you have to get out on the trail and you have to talk to locals who know the trail like the back of their hand because they ride it every single day. So it's a lot of getting to know the local mountain biking community and really figuring out, okay, what is the important routes? Like if you had a friend come here from out of town at this skill level who wanted to ride some technical stuff what would you take them on? And then we try to deliver that experience in the app.
Or if you have a friend that comes to ride and they like big jump lines and you like cross-country tech, you can send them on one of the tours without having to go with them.
That's a great point.
In order to try the experience that makes sense for them.
So you both ride.
We
Yes.
So you've done your own trails.
do. Hundreds of times.
Hundreds of times.
As part of testing and development of the app and the content, we ride and re-ride just to make sure that it's accurate and it's right. And anybody who's been here for a minute knows that just because the trail was that way yesterday doesn't mean it's going to be that way tomorrow. So we have to make revisions and keep things up to date. And then test new features of the app to make sure that they work reliably, they work in all conditions, they work on all parts of the trail, and that it keeps people informed in the way that we want that experience to be.
So you're going to walk us through, I think, with some pictures maybe of the app?
Sure.
You want to try that? Let's
Yeah.
see what's going on there, guys.
So some of the major benefits of using our app is one that he alluded to earlier, is that you don't have to stop at every single intersection and pull out your phone.
Okay.
And there's no more maps that you have to use.
Good.
That's a lot of the research that you do beforehand is, I want to ride this, I want to ride this. We make the loop for you. You don't even have to worry about it. And particularly every mountain biker, especially if you live here, if you're a resident, you've gone on a ride and you've noticed 10 people at every intersection who are all crowded around one phone, looking at it, and they just look completely lost. We call that our looking lost person, and we want to eliminate that from Northwest Arkansas.
Sure.
Because if you stopped and tried to guide every single one of those people during riding season in the summer, maybe not when it's snowy out, your ride would take 4 times as long because there's so many people traveling here and trying to navigate the trails. So if we can eliminate that person who's just looking lost, that's a really big goal of ours.
Okay.
And then another point is that it's just one earbud that you throw in, and we do all the audio tours of everything on there. We guide you through along the way. There's no need for you to do anything else. You can definitely add on sections, and we have different ways that, like if we take you to the top of the castle, for those familiar with the area, we'll take you down, we'll tell you about the loops, and you can ride them to your heart's content, and then we can guide you back to your car. So it's an experience that is super flexible to whatever the rider wants.
So the castle,
Yeah.
is that funny looking thing on the sidewalk going to Bentonville?
It's on the side of the interstate, so it's
That's
got a
what I
big,
mean, not
big
sidewalk,
flag,
yeah.
and it kind of marks the spot as you're driving by. You're going to know that there's some kind of interesting mountain biking going on here because of that trail.
Yeah, as that was being built, it was like, what is that?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
okay.
and as you can imagine, let's say you're looking at the maps. That's not on the map. I mean, it's on the map, but it's not. You can't tell what it is. But it's one of the coolest features in the area. But if you came in from Minneapolis for the weekend with your buddies to ride, and you got home and you said, I went to Bentonville and Bella Vista this weekend to ride, they said, oh, did you see the Huntley Gravity Zone? Oh, no, I missed that. Did you see the castle? The what? Did you see that hub at Kohler? Oh man, I missed that too. You could imagine how disappointed they would be if they had come here and just used a map to navigate, but had missed a lot of the coolest features.
Like the singing bridge
Yes.
Yep, that's part of the tour.
and the step thing that'll kill you by the time you get to the top.
Yes. Yeah.
we ride them right by that, yeah.
What about the one, I just discovered this not too long ago. I haven't actually seen it yet myself, and I'm not a biker. I'm going to be doing the walking.
good.
Of the RV,
Yeah.
that's an old RV. Tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, so that's in Blowing Springs.
Okay.
And one of the trails is called Area 51. So a lot of people refer to that area as
The
a lot of different
spooky-
things.
yeah.
I think it's like something's trash zone as well. So there's 50 different names that we have for that area. So that's another one of those, like if you're traveling in and you've heard about, go see the RV. I have no idea where it is and I couldn't point you to it on the map. We can take you to it. If you go into our app, it's actually the logo of one of the tours, so it's pretty obvious that you're going to go see it. It's a really cool hub that you can ride out of the RV and down some really cool trails.
So I love what the community has done on these trails with the art. Oh my goodness, some of the art. It's worth it. Just, you don't even think about having to, in my case, walk that much because you're really out there just looking at giant turtles and
Yeah.
wrecked RVs, all kinds of things like that. How long did it take you to develop this app?
Well, the idea, from the day of the idea and the first discussion, we had a prototype up in about 2 weeks.
Gotcha.
The prototype was terrible, but the on-trail experience, which is if I ride past this point, will I hear some audio that tells me what's around the corner? That part worked, and that part worked really well, and it was a very compelling experience. So
Let's pick that right up right after the break. We're going to take a quick break,
all right,
and we'll go from there.
sounds good.
Hello, I'm Mike Cleary, host of Mike Cleary Presents right here on Bella Vista Community Television. Beginning January 1st, 2024, Bella Vista Community Television will no longer be broadcasting on Cox Channel 222. We'll be switching to a 100% streaming platform. We're adding the Roku channel to our list of streaming platforms that includes YouTube, Facebook, and now the Roku app. For more information, go to our website or contact Bella Vista Community Television.
Okay, and we're back. That was a fun trip, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so developing that, I don't know if I heard the answer, maybe I did. How long did it take you to develop that app?
Once we had the prototype and we validated that, hearing a guided audio tour on a trail was a fun experience and would be something worth doing. It took about 6 months before we launched the first version in the App Store, and that was 2.5 months of that was right during the COVID pandemic. So it was an interesting time to be outside, a lot of growing interest in being outdoors and enjoying nature. So it timed pretty well with our launch. And when we launched, we had a smaller library of tours, obviously, a little bit different business model. But over the last few years, we've been developing that to make it a more reliable, more interesting, and more comprehensive experience, especially here in Northwest Arkansas.
You know, the last, well, I don't know it's the last, but it's another huge section that may happen in future. We can't say that it's here yet, but we're hoping, is connecting the Razorback Greenway and running it all along Sugar Creek and then ending up in Bluebird Park. So you guys will that be part of a loop? Will that be part of something you'll do?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So we've really been focusing on the mountain biking experience currently, just because that's what we know best, and really a great way to validate that this is a good experience. But we've been building a lot of things on the side to expand and target maybe a more broad audience. So we're currently building an art tour, which is just driving around the downtown and get to see all the bikeable art that you can actually go up to.
Oh, that's
And
fabulous.
we're building a greenway tour, although limited being because it's under so much construction, but eventually the whole way that you could jump in on the greenway at any point and just ride up and down it and get to experience more of those little offshoots and hidden gems that you would just ride right by that are really, really cool, actually.
I think it's amazing that you can get on a trail, even now, here in Bella Vista and end up in Fayetteville.
Yeah.
And I guess eventually it'll go all the way to the Missouri line, we're thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of alludes to one of the differences today from where we first started. The very first experience on the trail was about at this fork, stay right, and then just around this corner, there's a big rock drop. So, you know, take a look at it before you hit it so you don't go over your handlebars and get hurt. Since then, we found that we had sprinkled in little bits of trivia, like how the trail got its name, or who built it, or how the POA and the city worked together to make land available for private development, to make mountain bike trails accessible to everyone. We found including those stories got great feedback. So we've started doing more of that. And having the story in addition to the on-trail, keep me on the right route, keep me safe from unexpected obstacles, the storytelling part was a compelling addition, and that opened up the opportunity to do things off mountain bike trails, on paved routes, on gravel routes, and in areas that we didn't really anticipate a benefit at first. Because on a mountain bike, especially on some of the more expert trails, you're moving fast, there's a lot of hazards, and that's part of the fun. But
Is it?
It is. That's part of the fun, but nobody likes to get hurt. And one of the very first sparks of the idea was a story we heard about a visitor who had come in, I think from Dallas, with some buddies for the weekend, and they were riding Blowing Springs from the Blowing Springs trailhead. And about a mile into that trail, it's one of my favorite trails around here, and in about a mile in, there's a tricky rock garden, and you have to stay right, because if you stay too far left, you're gonna be pushed off the trail, and it's a big drop into the woods, and he fell off the trail 1 mile into his weekend after driving up from Dallas. So, you know, we thought, why can't there be a way that locals know that because they've all seen that and ridden it 100 times. Why can't there be a way, we don't want to tell them that there's something coming up they should pay attention to, but we don't want a bunch of signs ruining the enjoyment of nature. So that kind of sparked the idea of using the audio tour. We don't promise safety because, you know, trails change and conditions change, but any rider who is riding with one of our tours is likely to be safer because they have some awareness of what's coming up ahead.
How do you determine when to say there's a big rock up ahead? Because people go different speeds. How do you?
Well, that's an important point. It's triggered by GPS. So we know where they are, and we know just ahead there's something we should tell them about based on that spot. And mechanically the way it works is that a typical tour would have maybe 40 to 60 snippets of audio that are triggered by GPS. And each one is only a few seconds. And then you ride uninterrupted. You can enjoy the nature without us bothering you for the next 2 minutes. And then when there's something interesting or a turn or a story to tell, then we'll start another little audio snippet. And they're only as short as 2 seconds and as long as 30 seconds each, and they play at a particular point. So no matter how long you stop and wait for somebody, it'll pick up right when you're to that next spot.
Okay, man, that's fascinating.
And in our most recent release, we addressed some feedback that people who are riding on e-bikes now were finding that sometimes if we had 20 seconds of guidance about this jump line, they might be riding faster than we anticipated, and they might get to the feature before we finish telling them about it. So now if you're riding faster than we anticipated, we'll actually speed up the audio like a podcast player and play it a little bit faster so that we can finish telling you about the feature before you get to it.
What's a jump line?
A series of jumps in a row, like that you hit.
You don't have to jump over a string or a limbo pole or anything, right?
They call them rock face jumps here in Bella Vista. So they take a big slab of rock and they aim it like this, and then you hit it fast enough and you get air, and that's fun for people if you believe it.
Okay, if you say so, I believe you. Oh man, you guys, it's incredible what you're doing. So I think we have some more pictures. Can we maybe just look at some of those pictures and see if that tells us anything there? And maybe you can kind of give us a little walkthrough here as we scroll through the pictures. There's a picture of the app, the beginning of the app, correct?
Yeah, this is as you're starting a tour. It advises you to wear one earbud. We want people to be aware of their surroundings, other people on the trail. So, we don't want, it's not a closed-off experience. It's an immersive audio experience, but you can easily hear everything we're saying with just one earbud.
And that's kind of that shows, that's talking and showing at the same time. What's this?
So this is an image that you'd see of the app as you're actually riding, and one of the key points of this is that hopefully you never ever look at this screen because we're doing our job. So that little blue dot is your location, and as you're going through that number 4 there on the screen, that's when the audio would play and guide you around. So you'll never have to open up your phone and check the map and try to figure out where you're going. We do all that for you. You keep your eyes on the trail and one earphone in, and then we guide you around.
Okay.
Yeah, our app is an audio-only experience once you start the ride.
Okay.
So you keep your phone in your pocket, you keep it off, and you don't have to stop and pull it out and look. And that's the big advantage over the traditional methods of navigation.
But these things are going on your phone.
Yeah, so some people do mount their phone on their handlebars, and they like to see where they are relative to the things coming up. And so we do offer that experience for that subset of users, but it's not required.
Okay.
And then this one is a screenshot of the library of tours. So as you're thinking about where am I going to ride today, these are the experiences that we've created. They have each one, some are short, 5 miles, some are 25 miles long, some have a lot of climbing and elevation, some have expert level trails as part of it. So here you would navigate this list and see what kind of experience you want to ride, and then you'd read a description of that, see if it's your style, download it so that it's offline on your phone, and you don't need cell service anymore. And then once you hit start, everything works in the background. You can keep using your Strava or your other, music app if you want to. You can still take calls. So all of that still works in the
Take
background.
calls.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm sorry, I'm driving.
My daughter tends to call me all the time when I'm on the trails. She says, "Why did you answer?" But all of that works together, so we fit into the ecosystem that mountain bikers will expect.
Okay. So, where do we get this app?
Oh, one more on this last screenshot. That was
Yes.
an important feature. We tell you if you've missed a turn. So because we only have audio on the turns, if you miss a turn for some reason or you get off trail, the app will say, "Hey, our route went the other way. You might want to check the map and see if you can get back on the route." Or maybe you just wanted to try out a side trail, or maybe you got tired and went home. Either way, we let you know, and then you can resume it right when you get back to it, or if you want to quit and go a different direction, you
I
can.
kind of like to argue with my GPS in my car, like, no, I don't want to go there.
Yes.
I meant to do that. Yeah. Okay, so where do we find this app?
It's available for free in the iOS App Store, so anyone with an iPhone can download it. It's very easy, no registration required, no friction to check it out. We do require location permissions in order to tell the audio when to play, because we need to know where you are. But otherwise, we're trying to be very privacy friendly and very easy to get started with.
So, would it be something, because I'm curious, if I went out and got the app myself, is it anything I could use at all, walk in, or?
Yeah, we've heard from a variety of users that we didn't expect to be catering to. One of those groups is trail runners. So trail runners have a little more benefit than hikers, because generally hikers aren't moving fast enough to be able to hurt themselves or be surprised by something on the trail.
Unless you're with my dog, anyway.
But because we're adding more storytelling and directions, and we have a route, yes, it's definitely of use to hikers, though we currently cater the content to the speed of mountain bikers.
Right.
And then the other group that we found benefited from this that we didn't expect was deaf users. Even though it's an audio-only experience, most of the time, if they have a assistive technology like a hearing aid or an earbud that has, if they have a cochlear implant, they're able to hear our app much better than they can hear an in-person guide who might be 10 or 20 feet in front of them, or a friend trying to give them some directions. So it was a surprising benefit to both of those groups, trail runners and deaf users.
So you're constantly updating and thinking of new ways and new benefits for this. What's in it for you guys? What's in it for you guys, seriously?
Well, I'll go back to a very early story that that kind of guided this as a business for me. I took my wife to Arizona for her birthday, to a little resort out there. And because my job is mountain biking, I said, hey, I've got to rent a mountain bike and get out on the trails a little bit. So I hired a guide just to make sure I didn't mess up her birthday. Well, the guide got tired and said, hey, I can't keep up on this route, so I'm going to draw you a map. And he drew me a map. It was not to scale. I got lost. I missed a turn. I ended up riding 27 miles that day in the high desert with not enough water and no cell phone coverage on my wife's birthday. And then when I finally made it back, I had to take a nap. So I really want to have, I had a great opportunity to enjoy some of the best mountain biking in the world, but it turned out to be a miserable experience because there wasn't a good way to know what I was getting myself into from a trail duration perspective and how to stay on that trail. And I want to be able to go travel more and do that. And so this is for people like me that want to explore new things on mountain bikes, but make it fun and not a challenge.
You guys are so fascinating. I could talk to you forever. So I think sometime in future, I think you need to come back and let's just see, you know, see where we are and what we're doing. And maybe we'll get Gary here and, you know, we'll just have a good old round table about mountain biking. We've got to cut off now, I believe, in a few seconds, but I'm not going to say last words, but I'm going to kind of say, is there anything else you'd like to tell the audience before we go?
Definitely. I think follow along for the journey. You know, we're expanding this year to a lot of new mountain biking destinations, and so even if you're a local and you know all the trails like the back of your hand, there's definitely still something for TrailPilot for you if you want to go to some of these new destinations that we're adding. And I will say that as trails change, it's a great way to break your little comfort level and your routine that you've been riding for a while, and maybe try something new and learn something that is pretty interesting about the trails that you live on. So.
Thank you both so much.
Of course,
Thank you.
Bella Vista, we'll see you again next month on Let's Talk About It.
Yeah, that was fun. It was a lot faster than I thought. It was a lot faster than I thought.
Well, but you're passionate, so it's easy to talk about something